This is Kamera. We're on day number 150, and we're in the book of Esther, Esther 1 through 5. This is our 17th book. We've already covered 16 books. That was Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah. So that's 16 books we've covered. So in the first book of Esther, they let us know that King Xerxes is in power at this moment. Remember, the children of Judah was exiled to Babylon, and there's been a couple of kings to come through. Xerxes is the current king at this moment, and he rules over 127 provinces. And yes, Judah is part of those exiles. And they also note that he is the 127 provinces consist of locations from India all the way to Ethiopia. But he himself, King Xerxes, actually resides and rules from Susa. So now in his third year of ruling, he throws this huge banquet. This banquet goes on for 180 days, and it is all for his nobles and his officials. Okay, so they spend some time telling us how lavish this thing is with the decor and how the food and the drinks flow freely. And so after that 180-day banquet, he throws a banquet for the locals. 7 days he have a banquet for the locals. On the seventh day, he's feeling good. He all tipsy, right? So he sends his eunuchs there to pick up his Queen Vashti. He wants to show off Queen Vashti. She's very beautiful. And so, yeah, he wants her to wear a crown and everything. Queen Vashti has other plans. Queen Vashti is also having her banquet, and she denies her presence, right? Denies the king of her presence. King is furious. He is totally upset. He seeks counsel, and he is advised to ban Queen Vashti. Ban her, remove her from her position as queen. Yeah, that's what they tell her. If you allow her to stay in position, other wives all over, great and small, will follow her example and start to disrespect their husbands. And the husbands need to maintain rule over their homes. Right? King says, okay, fine. So the next day he's all sober, right? He's pondering what he did, thinking about Vashti, his queen, thinking about the decree he made and all, right? So then we need a follow-up plan. And so they tell him, seek the entire land for all the virgins, all the beautiful young virgins, and choose one of them, make them a queen, someone who's worth it, right? So King is okay with this. And so they go out and they send these trusted men all over to look for these young virgins, right? Now, this is where Mordecai and Esther comes in. Mordecai is from the lineage or the tribe of Benjamin. Remember, he's exiled. Judah was exiled. Judah, the Benjamites, they were all exiled to Babylon, and that's where they are in exile. And so in that lineage is Mordecai. Mordecai is the cousin of Esther. He takes care of Esther. Esther's parents died, so he adopted Esther into his family. So he takes care of her. She respects him. She listens to his direction. Whatever he tells her, she does. And so she is one of the chosen who are amongst the pickings for the king. She's young. She's beautiful. She's a virgin. Mordecai told her, don't tell them your nationality. She listens. She don't tell them her family line or anything, her nationality. And so while she's in the king's custody, harem, Mordecai still gets word to her, and directs her. But get this, though. While she's there in the king's custody, she listens to the head, the person who's in charge of the harem. And whatever he tells her, she does, right? And they say that Esther was beautiful. Now, her name is Hadassah. That's her Jewish name. But, yeah, like, again, Mordecai told her, don't tell anybody what her, her Jewish name, go by the name Esther. They said she's everyone loved her, and that says a lot. Everybody loves her, and the man who's in charge, the eunuch who's in charge, Haggai, he's in charge of the harem, and he likes her so much that he gives her rooms, he gives her own servants. Yeah, that says a lot about Esther. Clearly, she has to be humble, has to be kind, and yeah, and that's on top of her beauty. Isn't that something? So fast forward, Mordecai working in the palace now as an officer, and 7 years later, remember that banquet was in his third year. Did I say 7 years later? This is 4 years later. In his third year, he had the banquet. In the seventh year is when Esther gets her chance to visit the king. Now, the way this works is once the women are in the king's custody, where they're being treated for 12 months, these beauty treatments. Once their treatment session is over after 12 months, they each get a turn with the king. If the king, after the king stays with them or whatever, they're okay, he's not really into them, they go into the harem, and that's where they remain. If he finds one that he really likes, he crowns her as queen. And so this is Esther's night. And she follows the instructions of Haggai, the one who's over all of the harem. And get this, she is chosen. Says the king fell for her, loves her, and he queens Esther as his queen, right? He crowned Esther as his queen. Okay, fast forward. Remember I told you Mordecai is a palace officer now. And while on duty, he hears a plot against the king to kill him. And so he gets word back to Esther, let her know, somebody's trying to plot to kill the king. Esther tells the king of what Mordecai told her, right? And so king does his investigation, come to find out 2 of his eunuchs is plotting to kill him. And so they go ahead and record that Mordecai had discovered that. At the same time, they take care of those 2 eunuchs and impale them, right? And so fast forward after that, Haman the Agagite, he is promoted to over all the nobles, right? And one of the decrees the kings made concerning Haman is whenever a person sees Haman, they need to bow to him. For some reason, Mordecai just could not do it. Mordecai would not bow down to Haman. People in the palace, they would ask, why won't you bow down? You're supposed to bow down to Haman. Mordecai never did and didn't even excuse it. Didn't say anything. And so word got back to Haman that Mordecai was not bowing down to him. He starts to notice this, and he starts to build anger toward Mordecai for disrespecting him. And what does Haman do? He uses his power. I'll get back at Mordecai. You know what? Not only will I get back at Mordecai, but I kill off his entire nationality. He found out what his nationality was. And so then he makes up this lie, takes it to the king. There's this race of people who just refuse to obey you. We need to kill them off. King, we need to kill them off, and I'll donate 10,000 large bags of silver into the palace treasury. King said, okay, go ahead, I trust you, do what you got to do. Haman draws up this proclamation, signs the proclamation with the king's signet ring, right? Sends out these proclamations to 127 provinces, and this is what it reads. On March 7th, now this happened like in April, the following year, March 7th, you are given the authority to kill off every Jewish person, young and old, male and female, child or old person. Their possessions, you can take those as your own once you kill them, right? Fast forward, Mordecai hears this. Yeah, Mordecai, everybody can be killed off because of you, right? So anyway, Mordecai goes, rips his clothes, throws on some burlap, throws on some ashes, and he goes to the king's palace, and he's wailing, just mourning over the situation. Esther hears about it, so she sends, her servant there to give Mordecai some clothes, clean himself up. Mordecai rejects that. Esther then sends a messenger what is going on. Mordecai tells her what is going on. Yeah, tells her messenger everything. And then he says, Esther, you have to help us. Esther sends back message to the messenger to Mordecai. What can I do? If the king doesn't call me, I cannot go. I have to wait for him to call me. If I go into the inner court without being first invited, king don't raise his scepter, I can be killed. And so Mordecai sends her back a message. Oh, don't think that you are exempt from this. You are not protected. You are not protected. And who's to say that you weren't called for this reason to be in that position? Who's to say that you weren't called to be in a position for such a time as this? And so she gets the message and she's like, okay, do this. Tell all the Jews in Susa, which is where they reside, tell them to fast for 3 days and 3 nights. I'm going to approach the king. If I die, I die. So, 3rd day, she approaches. She goes into the inner court. King spots Esther, puts a little smile on his face. There go my boo. Raises his little scepter. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. And he asks her, hey, sweetie, what can I do for you? I'll even give you half my kingdom. She said, I don't need all that. Okay, I'm paraphrasing again. I just want you and this man Haman to come to my palace, my rooms tomorrow, and I want to throw a banquet for you, king. Just you and Haman to be present. So Haman feeling all good. He get to hang out with the king and the wife. Just the two of them were called to visit Queen Esther. And so once they get there that next day, then he says, so sweetie, what is it you want? I'll give you anything you ask for, even half my kingdom. And so she's like, you know what? Thanks, sweetie. Thank you, boo. But all I want for you is to have another night with you and Haman. Tomorrow night, another banquet. So get this. Haman is on cloud 9. Him alone, hanging out with the queen and the king? Seriously? Nobody else, just us? So he's feeling good until he spots Mordecai. Goes down here from there, takes his joy. His joy is completely gone because Mordecai does not bow down to him. He gets home, call his friends over. Him and his wife want to brag about him hanging out with the king and the queen, just them 3. And he tells them, it's all great. I love it. I love it. I love it. Except once I see that Mordecai guy, right? So his wife, friends are like, dude, seriously, just kill him off. So they build these gallows or sharpnels intending for it to be built to kill Mordecai, right? So get this. That's it for now. We're going to find out what happens tomorrow with everything, with Esther, with Mordecai, with Haman. But get this, guys. There are some things that I didn't really care for in this. For instance, when Queen Vashti says that she wasn't coming, and the king sought his. I can understand being upset. We're upset when our spouses don't do the simplest thing, just come, just cooperate. But the advisors, they basically threw down and said, we're going to lose control of our homes if you don't control yours, basically. And so now, first of all, she couldn't say no, but she should have, honestly, as a queen, she should have followed protocol and just go ahead and and deal with her issues with her husband later, right? But, these women, though, I don't like the way the women are like, they're losing respect. Anyway, that's another subject. And then Mordecai, why didn't you bow down? Come on, dude, you know that you need to respect authority. That's just how it works. It's kind of like what we're going on with the NFL, where the men came, they're kneeling for the flag, right? I don't have any opinions about that, but that's what it reminds me of. And so, yeah, But guys, get this. We're going to see what happens. And also, why are you going to let Mordecai steal your joy? This pride thing is serious. But then again, what about respect? So there you go, something to think about. And so we'll see what God's plan is for all of this. Okay, so we do see that Mordecai is written as being a person who saved the king from being assassinated. We do see that. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the following chapters. And guys, get this. That was day number 150, 150 days. And that was Esther, chapter 1 through chapter 5. You have a God-filled blessed day.